Welcome to another episode of my Motortown playthrough. Last time I brought over some planks to the copper mine. This time around we are going to take care of the fuel. So we got four options right here. I still have to use a semi-truck and a trailer for the planks, but that might be another episode. I want to start big today with the Atlas. Honestly, kind of a painful option, but it kinda does it. So yeah, I have some mixed expectations for how this is going to go, but we are going to try it anyways. So this thing is fully raised, stiffened up, wheels widened, everything, and it can just about make it and can also sometimes really get stuck. So we are going to see how far I can get here. I think you'll recognize the corner that I'll be having my biggest problems with, so no real reason to get into the nitty-gritty beforehand. This isn't really a recommendable option, but we'll have to figure out if other things are better here. So that remains to be seen. So yeah, let me just try and get to the actually important spot here. This whole thing up until we get to the fork in the road, this really doesn't matter much. It's something that I've done time and time again, and this is not where the problem lies at all. I think I may have already made an episode in the past about this, I don't know. I think I definitely made one uh, on the cooler box tug with planks. This one I'm not entirely sure of. I've also used this truck to get up to the coal mine, but yeah, on the steepest bit I definitely needed some help. I definitely had to pull out the Brutus and pull myself up with a winch. So despite the fuel being, oh no, it's maybe on the same level in terms of how heavy it is. But this truck is just not that amazing. Yeah, I think this should be 16 tons and the plank should be 15. But yeah, the big problem here is that big box on the back of the truck there and also the low hanging rear bumper. And how long the overhang is to begin with. So if even with raising up everything and stiffening up the suspension so it doesn't lower itself down so much when loaded, it's just there are limitations to what this thing can do, and reasonably Guangjin should not be within those limitations. This is just a mix between this truck still being pretty amazing and me brute forcing the shit out of this job in order to make this work. But to be clear, except for me trying it once with a trailer and the Jimusi Semi, this is really the only thing that I really use up here. We are likely going to buy a tanker trailer later this episode and try it with that. See how that goes once you modify it a bit. But yeah, I'm kinda refusing to use anything smaller. I don't really wanna go in with 6 or 7 units of fuel over time. That's kind of a bit on the low side. I mean, I might try the Brutus. I usually like the Jimusi a bit more. It feels a bit better. But I think the Brutus is ultimately the better truck here. Slightly better capacity. But I think it's also just so much wider, it's not gonna struggle falling over or anything. So I might have to try that one. But yeah, this one right now is a walk in the park. The tough bit is going to come in a moment. Still such a beautiful area. Also, there is a question still in the room of how far I'll even do the entire supply chain here. I honestly don't care too much about the on-road stuff. So, yeah, I'll be delivering some copper concentrate, trying out the Atlas, what is it, the Atlas dump and dump trailer combination. See if that can make it down the mud shortcut. I think I should have enough stuff in the concentrator to load up that whole thing. But outside of that, bringing the copper coils to the transformer factory is kinda... it's just a standard job. Somewhat heavy cargo on a flatbed trailer and just haul it on a regular road. And that's kind of the same that I feel about a lot of these things, including the oversized cargo. Yeah, it looks cool because it's a bit larger than what you should be transporting realistically. I mean, yeah, those things also need to go somewhere, but in terms of how the whole thing feels, it's not really different from any regular cargo. It's just heavy and slow, and not slow in a challenging way. Like, you are going to definitely get there. It's just gonna take longer. While with this stuff right here, getting there is part of the challenge. But yeah, getting another off-road task is definitely appreciated. I think that's a good idea. I would have maybe hoped for the whole thing to be in its own area. Maybe in the northwest region of Oldley. Just get some Mesa Mountains in there, that would be nice. Maybe it's gonna come for another update with another industry chain. But I think overall, despite this also being in Guangjin, they did a really decent job with making this feel different. Because it's at least in a different area of Guangjin and not up on the coal and iron ore mountain again. But initially my hopes were that maybe the copper mine would be relocated to a place over there somewhere. So that copper is more different to the iron ore in terms of the roads that you use. But yeah, we'll see if I make another completely bespoke off-road area at some point. So this is, by the way, the problem area, and you can already see the problem. Lack of ground clearance. This time at least I was able to roll back on the whole thing, but that terrain there is tricky. So yeah, the line that I need to take through here is somewhat on the inside. Maybe, yeah, that kind of was exactly that. And then go a bit wider with the front, but also make a turn back on the inside before this happens. I can maybe lower the lift axle to help me out here. Yeah, I'm kinda stuck. Yeah, that was a stupid place to reset to. So yeah, there is a line through this, but it's really hard to get. There might even be multiple ones, but you're gonna make sure that you don't high center yourself or yeah, beach in some way. So yeah, staying on the left, then going straight into that wall there. That was a bit too far to the left. And yeah, this part is exactly why I wouldn't really recommend this route. Not with this truck. Okay, that made it through, and now it's a good idea to just go in reverse. And now we should be clear. Yep. So that's how you can make it through there without cheating and teleporting ahead, but it's something. And I'll be honest, if I get here at night and don't turn up my moonlight brightness or sleep through the night, I'm completely screwed. If you can't see anything, you're not making it through there. I mean, maybe I could add a few more lights that actually go different directions and light up the area a bit more around my truck. But with what I have here, sight is really important. At least this bridge is a bit easier than with the CUDA. I mean, all I need to do on the CUDA is get the front wheels a bit closer together. I think that wouldn't be the biggest issue. But this definitely works immediately. Okay, here we go. Got a bit stuck here with the CUDA. I need to get onto the regular area again, out of the mud, and we should be good now. I said we should be good now. Don't embarrass me further, please. Okay, this part is also a bit tricky. I think it's the most difficult with the Limusi Semi. Because this is also, once again, really rough terrain. Also, I have no idea whether this would be a decent thing to do through the mud shortcut. I mean, that might also be a tactic at some point. Let's say I figure out if I can do the whole thing with one of the Shoten trailers. Then I could go to the refinery, load up this truck and one of the trailers, and then pull everything over to the lumber mill, and then bring up the truck first and then the trailer. But yeah, that might be something for a different time. Might also be something that I try off screen. I don't need to fill myself with all of these stupid experiments. God, this thing is so tail heavy. I got a bit surprised with how the front started lifting up. But yeah, we made it. Honestly, this would be a whole nother ball game if driven axle was on the rear and the tech axle was in the middle. But yeah, really, this truck shouldn't be able to get here, and yet here we are. So it's kind of a success. Doing the usual shortcut again. You know what? I'm kinda itching to try out this side. Yeah, no problem. And I just left my vehicles here because, yeah, why not? Ka-ching! And another really pitiful reward for all the stuff that we did here. I just looked at the chat and thought I got 4,400 levels or something like that. Can't be right. No, that's my overall level. Okay, that was the first one. Let's check out the Brutus. I'm gonna have to see if I have a second one. Let's just... Okay, only this one. The problem is this already has something loaded, so I might have to unload. You know what? Let me check something. I would like to have the best option for the mobile refueling station, and while this is a bit bigger, would this one look a bit better next to the track because it's a tiny bit lower? I don't know. Doesn't really do much. This one is definitely lower to the max. I think that's also true for this one here. You know what? Let me check on the suspension. I know I always put down the Brutuses, but I've recently gone and raised the Jimusis again. If I can make this a bit lower, I would definitely prefer this as a trackside refueling truck. It's pretty much all the way down, so it doesn't really get much lower. I'll just put this away for now. I don't think we need to do the Brutus and the Jimusi. They are not going to be too much different from each other, I reckon. So if I go for Brutus tanker and diesel, fill up. Yeah, remove the gasoline, and now it's ready to go as an actual fuel transporter. Don't know if I can do it at the station over here, so I decided to just do it at the gas station. Copper mine number 3, and we already loaded up because this thing cannot take that much to begin with. Let's see, I've never done this. I avoid the small tankers like a plague. Also interesting to see how much space there is between the frame and the actual tanking unit. Maybe I cover up the gap at some point. I don't like these kinds of gaps. It's also on the new trash truck, and I put my own skirt around it in order to seal that up a bit more. Just for the optics. By the way, I haven't really engaged the off-road stuff yet. Still in two-wheel drive. I mean, we could go for four-wheel drive at least. I don't think I changed the diffs on this one, so yeah, if I engage the lock diffs, it's just gonna be lock diffs and nothing else. I don't think it will be much of a problem. This is definitely just breezing through the entire thing right now. Barely a challenge what you would kinda expect from this thing. I don't know how expensive all the vehicles are from top of my head. That would also be kind of interesting for a comparison like this. I mean, you should be able to search them in the Motorpedia. Let me just check. Vehicles, and if I go to tank. Okay, Jimusi tanker 110. Brutus tanker 150, but you get 1 unit more. I mean, I think for the stability it's worth it. 160 for the Atlas, but you saw how difficult that is. And yeah, then you also get the other tanker trailers, which are not listed here because they have a different name. But yeah, 110 to 160. I think for this, I would likely prefer the Brutus over the Jimusi. But I haven't really tried the Jimusi either. But this is definitely feeling really good right now. And yeah, if you are considering doing the job indefinitely, the extra kiloliter fuel is going to add up at some point. Not at some point soon, but over time. Make 3 deliveries, you get like, yeah, 1 overall thing of production more. Okay, this is actually really fun. Just running through the entire thing here. I also don't know why we get these trash bags spawn everywhere. It's really weird. No idea if that ever got reported. Might be a good idea to maybe try it at some point. But yeah, this thing is just, it's running. Also don't know why I put these wheels on. They look a bit weird. Might be bulkers. I know I usually don't use the bulkers because while they are an overall nice design, I like having a few more gaps than just the two. It doesn't look bad or anything, it's just not my style. This is basically a 2-spoke rim design, only that each spoke takes up about 40% of the circumference or something. Okay, finally getting to the more tricky part soon. I mean, this is a special duty off-road truck. You kinda expect it to make ways through the regular area there. I don't think it will struggle with this one either. Despite being fully lowered and everything, this is really not set up for harsh off-roading. But then again, in my opinion, the Brutus is a bit too high by default. Which might be accurate to real life, but I don't need all that ground clearance. And yeah, I still haven't engaged for low locked or something. This is still basically road spec. There's also a new thing with camera hype that I've just tried out. if you first up, you need to set it up to a button combination, and if you hold that, it's going to default back to that height, and I don't know if that worked or if I did it wrong. Doesn't seem to want to do it. Nice idea in theory, but doesn't seem to work consistently right now. It definitely worked earlier doing testing, but I don't know if I'm doing something wrong right now. Might have to press the R button first and then the L button. Yeah, now it's stuck like this. Oops. But yeah, here we go. Basically already made it past the real tough stuff. So yeah, for the Brutus, I think it's gonna be an easy recommendation if you want it to be done easily. Which, given how tough the other tanker was, cannot blame you for that. But if you need a lot of iron ore, copper ore, you would end up doing a lot of these trips. And yeah, one Atlas delivery does almost 3 times as much, so I don't know. The problem for me is also, once again, I like activities in this game that keep me engaged. This is fun right now, but it's really not difficult. Like, if I were to run this more often, I would likely end up just letting the autopilot do it and see where it gets stuck or something. And yeah, of course, with companies, there is no way to automate this process. You could just wait longer and just keep one truck running across all the 3 mines over there, and eventually it will do stuff. So things will accumulate over time if you just do something else in the game and keep it running. But that's not really all that amazing. And you need 30 regular copper ore for 1 copper concentrate, and 3 copper concentrate for 1 coil, so this part is kinda grindy. Managed to tip it over after all. Yeah, this is just not all that impressive. But yeah, that's 2 more deliveries, both from the storage unit, because that's once again the better one for the fuel and everything. I might just leave it here and come back next episode for the semi-tractor stuff. I mean, you know what, we can quickly do another one and go with Jemusi. I'm a bit curious about it. I don't think it's gonna be too much different from the Brutus, but let's see. weird little bleed over for the decal there. Some stuff may have changed between the versions, and I know that didn't used to be there. So I might have to fix that again. Yeah, I think there are multiple little areas where it's bleeding over. That's really not looking too great. Might be something that I fixed on the other version. I got two of these. One is for diesel refueling, the other one is for actual deliveries. Which I never really use because, yeah, I just go in with a bigger truck or leave it. Hard to tell without a direct side-by-side or taking times or so, but this doesn't feel all that fast. Although at least the truck is far less tippy than I initially feared it would be. But yeah, like with the Brutus, we are just going through here with basically the road setup in terms of differential. So not even going into low locked 6-wheel drive. Don't need that right now. I'm just gonna focus on driving alright and just being fast. So, yeah, through the mud. That was a bit risky. That could have easily tipped it over, it seems. Like, there was definitely a moment where I tried to get off its wheels. So overall with the Brutus I have a bit more trust that it won't tip over. But it's not like this is giving me much problems either. The Brutus is just overall wider, but compared to the other stuff that I've done last episode with all the planks, that was definitely the harder of the two jobs. Outside maybe getting the Atlas tanker in here, that's still kind of the toughest thing. Ah, careful. But yeah, I think for the purpose of this, anything works between the Brutus and the Jimusi. I also heard that the Kira tanker is pretty capable off-road. So that might be another choice, but from what I remember, that only has a 5 kiloliter tank. So while it might be the cheapest among the 3 smaller rigid tankers, it's not really the best, I would say. And yeah, next time we are going to try out the tanker trailer and Limousine semi with flatbed trailer. I think I want to try out the 10 meter trailer first. See how that goes. I know that Limousine semi can make it with the 6 planks. It's gonna be a bit tough here and there, but that can work. I don't know if it would be recommendable over running the other trucks twice. But yeah, the tanker trailer is the real one that I don't really know much about yet. I've done the 7 kiloliter once and it was a stock one. I think it was alright. But you really want to own it and change the suspension a bit. And I want to go for the longer one. See if that's viable. I mean, if I can make it through with 28 kiloliters of fuel, that's definitely the solution then. And with a Limousine, you always get the front winch, and therefore, yeah, there's always an option to get yourself out of trouble, or at least usually. So among these two options, the Brutus and the Limousine, which one would I use for this? I think the Brutus would be the one. Once you put in the Atlas as well, I would likely go for the Atlas because I just wanna get a good amount of fuel there, but I wouldn't recommend it. Because you either know how to do it or you can't do it, and I don't know if I really showed you guys how to definitely do it. I mean, it's still a struggle for myself as well, so I can't really give you guys the perfect tutorial or anything. But we might come back to this later. Maybe I'll also throw in the whole trash collection thing before going to the semis. I'm just realizing that otherwise we would be doing the same thing for 3 episodes, which is kinda not really what I usually wanna do. So maybe we'll try out the new trash truck next time, talk a bit about that, and then afterwards get back to this. There's definitely gonna be a delivery towards the refinery once we sort out all the stuff with supplying the mines. But I think after that I might leave it at that, and I don't know what else there is to show in the update. There are smaller things. This is not the end of the update, but in terms of activities, oh yeah, the escort job. Might have to see about that at some point. I don't know what, let's turn it around. Let's not be that guy. But yeah, that's another few deliveries made. I mean, it worked out. So yeah, can recommend either of these. I would go with a Brutus personally, that 1 kiloliter in addition to everything else. It's not gonna make a whole lot of difference, but I think it also, the Brutus drives a bit nicer for this. The thing I don't like about the Brutus usually is its top speed, but with this delivery it doesn't matter. So I think for this one, in Guangjin, the Brutus is really good for this specific job. But I think in the end it's maybe a bit more of a toss-up than anything else. So yeah, still gonna figure out how it works with the semis, but that's gonna be a whole nother episode and likely with another one in between. So thank you guys for watching. As always, have a good one and bye bye.